Time for the African giants, the beautiful people of Western Africa. See this. Alright, so African Facts on the page on X that discuss about African news that I'm always here to share a post about the African giants. See this. So they says, Nigeria is the largest importer of generator in Africa due to insufficient power supply. Nigeria generates 5,000 megawatts of electricity with a population of 220 million people. Egypt generates 59,603 megawatts for 114 million people. Again, and South Africa generates 58,095 megawatts for 61 million people. Alright, so there you have it, okay? So African Facts Zone talks about the power situation in Nigeria and how they are Africa's most importers of generators into the African continent, okay? And they are saying that 5,000 megawatts of power is being given to 220 million people. They also made reference to Egypt having to supply about 59,000 megawatts to 140 million people, and then South Africa having to generate about 58,000 to 61 million people. So you ask yourself this question though, what is up with the giants of Africa? How are 220 million people actually surviving on the 5,000 megawatts of power? How? So it's true that Nigerians are loud because they are used to shouting over generators back home. Yo, man, it hasn't gotten to this. Why are you replying? Why is bro replying like that? Well, if you don't know about this comment was actually directly from the African Facts Zone page when they share this on their X page, okay? Let's continue. Alright, so this one also came in and says, what makes Nigeria giant in the first place? Retrogression in everything? Yo, why are you guys doing this to the giants of Africa? I thought 2024 was a peaceful year. Why are you guys moving like this, okay? Well, we all know that the whole of Africa have some of the worst leaders. I mean, worst people. But Nigeria happens to have leaders, okay? I don't know. These people have no sympathy at all. How can you have people, about 200 million people, and just produce about 5,000 megawatts? Why? Why should it be? And it has been about more than a decade now. They have not done anything really to make improvement to this power sector. If I was the president, I would make all the budgets of the country to really go on that side, because hospitals need the power to supply, factories need power to work. Everyday life needs power now. The world is moving to that side of the world. The world is moving technologically, okay? So power is like an air we breathe now. And how come you people are still being through this for a decade now, and there has not been much of improvement to it till date? South Africa, on the other hand, having 61 million people but producing about 58,000 megawatts. That is huge, bro. Big respect to South Africa. Although sometimes they have some blackouts time to time, but we all know how industrial the South African economy is. So they have big industries that are actually relying much on their power sector. And I know for sure maybe they will increase or improve their power sector, okay? But for Nigeria, it's too bad. Having 200 million people but producing only 5,000 megawatts, that's too bad, bro. Seriously, sincerely, that's too bad. All right, so as African Facts Zone shared this post on their page, a lot of people came with their concerns also by commenting, okay? And some Nigerians also came commenting. So I want us to check about some comments that I found interesting, and I think we can discuss something or two about them, okay? So let's go. So to our first comment, this guy is called Schools in Niger. Bro came in and says, these stats are embarrassing. Sadly, our leaders are bereft of ideas on how to change the narrative. We the citizens are equally culpable because when it's time for election, religion, political party, ethnicity, and tribe of the candidates will be the most important issue to us instead of competency. Well, this is actually a Nigerian, though. A man actually named some more specific points. That is not only the problem of only Nigeria, though, but it's cut across most African countries. Tribal, political stand, religious stand, and most importantly, that he says religion stand too. No, should I say? Yeah, ethnicity, yeah. So this point man labeled here is not only affecting Nigeria, it's affecting most of African continent or most of the countries in Africa. Ghana, to be precise, people vote close to tribal lines, religious lines, political affiliation lines. They don't actually care about how competent the person is enough. No, they just care about they know the person for the same church, for the same neighborhood, for the same tribe, the same place. That's how they vote, without not having anything, the person having no experience about anything. They just vote, okay? So man is saying that Nigeria's biggest problem is not only the leaders, but also the people based on how they choose their leaders. They don't care about competency. And I think it's right, though. I think it's very, very right about this. What do you also think about this point? Another comment section? Let me see what you think. Let's continue with the comments, okay? All right, so this one also came in and says, Nigeria government is benefiting from the generator importation, and that's just clear. Well, man is saying that the Nigerian government is actually benefiting from the generator importation, because how can someone be deliberately sit down for a country of 200 million people to produce only just 5,000 megawatts? How? And it has not been a year or 2 or 5 years, it has been close to a decade now, and still Nigeria is always having power crisis. Why should it be so? What are the leaders actually doing about this? Okay, so man is saying that the government may have something to do with the importation of generators, though, because man believe they have a hand in it. Well, that's his assertion, though. That's a Nigerian for sure. Well, lastly, this one also came in and had this to say. Man came in and says, you lie. It's because some people can't afford the bills and fuel is cheaper. Well, man is saying that Nigerians buying most generators or importing most generators is not because of power crisis, but the people cannot pay the light bill. So he believes that fuel is cheaper, so the people actually choose to go in for generators and then use fuel to power it up. That's what bro actually thinks. So his name is Osi of Enugu. Yep, I think Enugu is one of the states in Nigeria, though. Nigeria is called, and it's a state, it's a federal country. So every state have its own kind of governor. So mine is from one of the states called Enugu. The man is saying that it's a lie. The people of Nigeria are not actually complaining about power supply, though, because the light bill is actually high, but people actually decided to purchase the generators because of high cost of the bill. So they actually have fun paying for the fuel. That's what bro thinks. So you, as a common Nigerian, what do you also think what do you think is the problem that Nigerians actually chooses to buy more generators than using their power supply? That's based on what bro is saying, though. And what do you also think that your leaders can actually do for you, and you the people can also do for yourselves in order to improve your standard of living? Because Nigeria is one of the biggest countries in Africa, for sure. The biggest GDP, biggest population, biggest culture, diversity, everything. Nigeria have it all. I can say to best food, though. You guys have one of the best food on the continent too. So I hope everything works out for you guys. So my name is Without Share Say, and I was here to share with you a post about African Fact Zone discussing how Nigerians are highly or the most generators importers in Africa by producing just only 5 megawatts of power to its citizens, where Egypt are producing about 59,000 megawatts to 114 million people, and then South Africa also producing about 58,000 power megawatts to only 61 million people, and Nigerians are actually having some power crisis due to that, okay? So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you have some time catching us. My name is Without Share Say. Hope you'll be here next time to have some time with me, and let's talk about Africa. There's always African time with you, my lovely watchers. I hope I'll see you again on my next episode. See you guys around.